Hi, everybody. I'm Pam. It's such an honor to meet you. I'm so sad that I don't live in Michigan anymore because my daughter lives here, but I have moved on to sunny Florida, and I identify as a mermaid, and I feel like every mermaid needs salt water, so that really helps me. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I came here originally, I built my relationship with this pregnancy center after going to a banquet with Life Advancement Group, who is the partner that works with Crossroads to provide the marketing that gets the girls to come into the pregnancy center. One of the disadvantages that we have in the pro-life movement is that we don't have the big pocketbooks that Planned Parenthood has. As an example, during the last election, just for the election term, Planned Parenthood spent $64 million marketing their pro-choice agenda. $64 million. Is your budget $64 million? Sorry, no, it's not. So in the pro-life world, we really lock arms and work together. And I attended a banquet for Life Advancement Group, this brilliant marketing company that's sitting with me at my table, because they do such an exceptional job of understanding what she needs to get into the pregnancy center, how to communicate with her, all of it, right? What she's looking for. She's not looking in the yellow pages anymore like I was in 1991, but they spend a lot of time really working to understand her. At Save the Storks, I've worked at Save the Storks for 6 years. We work really hard to help pregnancy centers get better at reaching her, to provide more medical services so they can be more medically relevant in a woman's life. And when I came to a banquet 4 years ago, I heard about Crossroads and the excellent work that they were doing to reach her, to serve her longer. When I came, Tim was the director. Many of you know him. He's wonderful. He's here. I don't know where he's at, though. There we go. The building, I got to see the medical building when it was just a torn out hair salon. It was incredible. And we want every pregnancy center in the nation to offer the quality of services that they're providing to women here. We really think that will be the thing that will make abortion unnecessary. If we can provide services to women so that they have support throughout their pregnancy, that's going to significantly reduce the reason why most women choose to have an abortion. But all of that is not what I'm here to tell you. I'm here to share with you my personal story about living in Oakland County as a child and as a teenager. I grew up in Farmington Hills, like we talked earlier, and went to St. Fabian for school. I went to North Farmington for high school. And I dated this wonderful boy all through high school that went to St. Mary's. And we were both Catholic. We both talked about waiting until we were married to have sex and be intimate. We wanted to make all of our family proud and the Lord proud with everything we knew how to at that stage of our life. But one night, our senior year of high school, we blew it. And we blew it, and he broke up with me in bed, and then weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. And that's a sad reality for thousands of women. I did some research, and doctor shared with us that 30,000 women in the state of Michigan choose abortion every year. But can I share the numbers with you of how many women in Oakland County choose an abortion every year? And this is just the number of women that we know that are reported. And unfortunately, because your state is so liberal, they don't have to report those numbers anymore. But in 2023, the number was 3,415 lives lost to abortion. That's so sad to me. In the state of Arkansas, there are 3,000 abortions annually. And we have that just in this county. That's why they work so hard at Crossroads, because they know the truth that I know. And when I found out that I was pregnant, I called Brad and I told him that I was pregnant. And he told me, he said, listen, you need to go get some help, but you need to make sure that you do not go somewhere that says options, choices, or care center in the name. He said, if you go to one of those places, you're a minor, you can't get an abortion. And those places are going to first call your parents, then they're going to make you drop out of high school, and then they will sell your baby to a family that's ready to parent. And that sounded awful to me. And I also really doubted the truth of that. So I looked in the yellow pages and tried to look for anywhere that I could that wasn't one of those names. And I found an abortion clinic. And I love that I do not remember the name of it, but it's on Orchard Lake Road. And when I went there, I talked with the doctor, and he was like, wow, I'm so thankful you didn't go to one of those places, because that's exactly what you would have gone through. They would have ruined your life. You're so young. Let's hurry up and take care of this before it becomes a baby. Unfortunately, you're only 17, and I can't give you an abortion without your parents' consent. Do you think you guys could get an ID of somebody who's 18? Because I would love to help you. So my boyfriend stole some lady's Gucci purse. I filled out this paperwork. They kept my ID. I had no idea my address. I just put information. And they took me back and took care of me. And my doctor, before I had my procedure, he said to me, now remember, you don't ever have to tell your doctor that you've done this. A doctor can't look inside of you and see you've had an abortion, and this is never going to be on your medical record. He knew that wasn't my ID. He knew I wasn't whatever that girl's name was. I thought that this adult, professional, medical man was helping me in that moment. And the day that I had my abortion, I thought I was doing the right thing. I laid on that table, and the moment that baby came out of my body, I knew what I did. The hard thing is that once you make an abortion decision, you can never go back from that decision. And unfortunately, in your state, a woman can make a decision for life and then have her boyfriend break up with her and change her mind. She can get fired from her job and change her mind. She could find herself homeless and say, you know what, this just isn't working for me. I'm just going to have an abortion. And I can tell you that is nothing that anybody should ever have to walk through. I remember years after having my abortion, my dad passed away. I was about 30 years old. And my first thought when I found out that he was gone was, he's going to find out about that baby. Right? Like, it should have been full of joy, but I was so sad that I was going to break my dad's heart in heaven. Right? And then fast forward a little bit longer, I'm about 40 years old, and my mom is passing away. She had cancer, and she was very afraid of dying. I had a really hard relationship with my mom. And I thought, maybe I can heal a little bit of our relationship and bond with her by sharing with her about the hope in heaven of this baby that she's going to get to meet, and apologize to her for robbing her of her first grandchild. And when I sat with my mom and told her my story, she was so cold. She says, do you not think I was on the phone listening to you and Brad plan your abortion? You thought you were so big. She's like, I watched you grieve for months after that. Did you ever come to me? She's like, don't try this now to get this healing. Your time was 25 years ago. Or maybe, I don't remember how long it was. But that was a tough reaction. And in that moment, I knew, this is why I did not come to you in that moment, right? And I had teenagers at home. So I went home to my kids and I sat them down And I had the hardest conversation I could ever have with another human being. And I had to tell my kids about my abortion. I didn't want them to ever go through life and have to make a hard decision and try and do it without me, because I know the weight and I knew the cost of what that meant to me. And my kids were young, they were teenagers. My daughter was about 13 years old at the time. And I said to her, and I told her that I had an abortion, and she got so mad, and she looked at me and she said, "Mom, I have told you my whole life that I want a big sister." She had 2 big brothers. "Why didn't you tell me that I had one, but you killed her?" And then as soon as it came out of her mouth, she tried to pull it back. You could see the regret in her face, and she hugged me. And she was like, "Mom, I am so sorry that you didn't have you as a mom." Right? Unfortunately, and very fortunately, I'm just teasing, my kids were very good at telling me all of the things. I told them, I promise, my reaction might not be great at first, but I'm always going to come around for you. And I hope that I always have, right? I'm very lucky tonight. I get to share my story several times, and I promised the Lord that I would share as often as he gave me opportunity. I'm not a public speaker. I'm just here sharing my journey of what the Lord is doing in my life. And this night, my daughter is here with me, which is so beautiful. I love her so much. When she picked me up from the airport on Wednesday, handed me a gift, and it had a onesie and a pregnancy test. My daughter just made me a grandma. And I'm so proud that an abortion was never a consideration for her. It's so exciting. Yikes. Okay, so I also, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between my story and the difference of what girls are facing now, because after Roe versus Wade got overturned, we thought that this would make abortion happen less. States like Texas, there's an abortion ban. You can't legally get an abortion, but their abortion numbers are higher because now you can order abortion pills in the mail and they send them to you, and they send you extra, and they say, just hang on to these so when you need them for next time. And what Dr. Scott Stark, I work with a Dr. Scott at Save the Storks, sorry about that, did not say is the first pill ends the life of your baby, but the second pill both puts you into labor and also has you abort that baby, you deliver that baby in your home. So my story is hard, but when I close my eyes and imagine me on a table with a doctor performing a medical procedure on me, that is one thing. But when these girls are taking these medications that are ending the life of their baby, and then they're delivering their baby in their bathrooms or in their home by themselves, now their trauma is in their safe space. And women are so significantly more traumatized by this chemical abortion than a surgical abortion ever could cause harm for a woman. So we really need to do something. We need to spend a lot of time in prayer and really work hard at helping to make this horrible abortion pill go away as soon as we can. The abortion pill reversal is super helpful. And I didn't know, my daughter didn't even know that was a possibility. And some of you might not know that's a possibility. So I think it's really important to share. Another really important thing that I would like to share with you in my time is the fact that I spoke a little bit about the fact that I was in Catholic school, and Brad was in Catholic school, right? I should have known better. I should have made a life decision. But I was so afraid of the condemnation from my church that, and not just condemnation on me, but ruining my parents' walk and what they were doing to raise me and my siblings, and what Brad was doing to become a dentist, and what his parents' walk was going to look like if they ended up having these kids that had this teen pregnancy out of wedlock, and that's, I think, an area where we're failing as a church. Statistically, the number of women that choose abortion is not any different inside the church or outside of the church, and that breaks my heart. I wish that we could, as a church, as a body of believers, find a way to support women so that we are the first place they come instead of the last, right? So one of my most proud accomplishments at Save the Storks is we created this training called START course. I think they're going to put it on the slide for you to see what it looks like. But START course is designed for you. It's designed so that you know how to be a safe, warm, inviting place for somebody who's made a mistake, right? I thought it would be easier to go to God with the sin of an abortion than it would be to go to my church with the reality of an unplanned pregnancy. And I think that happens again and again and again, especially knowing that the numbers are not any different, right? If you don't have faith, there's no condemnation in sin of having a baby outside of wedlock, right? That's something that we put on ourselves. So START course is something that's completely free to watch. It's a series of short, some are a couple minutes, some are maybe 10 minutes, different subjects so that you can better understand how to, let's say you're a youth group leader, right? When I was a youth group leader, when my kids were in high school, I told all of the kids, I want to be your person. If you're going through something hard, come to me, right? I'm not saying, I never said that I wouldn't tell your parents. I just said, come to me first. Let me be your support. And I think that would be a really important thing that all of us can do to be a mentor in some child's life, right? START course was so effective that the American Association of Christian Counselors worked with us at Save the Storks to create a START course 2.0, which really gets into how does somebody even make a decision to end the life of their child, and what is going on in her brain and what's going on after. Like for me, I know when you're pregnant, your cornea thickness changes, your heart rate changes, your core body temperature changes. You don't receive any nutrients until your baby gets fed. You are now number 2 in your own body, right? So that's a whole lot of changes in hormones and emotions and everything. And let's get good at understanding what's going on, right? And I love so much that they're working to get in the schools so that girls and boys can understand what's going on in their bodies, when you get pregnant, how you don't get pregnant, why abstinence is important. All of it is so beneficial. And if we can get in the schools, building relationships with them early, then when they have questions, we can be the source of what they're coming to, right? And that's why we're all partnering. One thing that I love most about Save the Storks is we don't charge a pregnancy center anything for any of the work that we do with them, which is exceptional. Our donors donate to us so that we can pour into pregnancy centers and elevate all of their medical services. At Crossroads, they don't charge a woman for anything ever for anything that happens in their centers. And I just think that is absolutely incredible. Yeah. I could talk with you guys about this all night, but I also really value your time. If you guys would just hang out with me for another 5 minutes, I'd like to pray. If you're with your partner, I'd like you to maybe spend some time praying together and talking about the ways that you guys could give. Let's go before the Lord. Lord, I thank you so much for each one of the donors that are sitting here. I thank you for the ways that you provide Crossroads with resources so that they can serve women in a myriad of ways to help her to make a solid life decision. Lord, I thank you so much that you created me and you knew that abortion would be a part of my story and that you're using it for our good and for your glory. Lord, be with all of these donors as they're preparing what their hearts are to give. The one last thing that I want to share with you guys tonight is the biggest piece of my story, and that is the forgiveness and the goodness of God, right? I confessed my abortion to the Lord 100 times. I knew that the Lord forgave me, and I really struggled to forgive myself, right? And one day, I was thinking about how good God is and how I know that he looks at me and he sees me as so innocent and pure, and how I did not look at me that way. And I realized that and thought, wow, if God, the creator of heaven and earth, can look at me and forgive me for that, I need to forgive me for that, right? I also know that probably 25% of you sitting in this audience have gone through an abortion. The average is 27 years after an abortion before somebody really seeks healing. So if there are any of you in here that are somewhere in that 27 years, or you've taken longer than that, I'd love for you to forgive yourself. I think it's really important. Somebody told me once that the Lord takes the worst things that you've done and he uses it to put his thumb on you and to make you feel like you are incapable to serve the Lord. And that is the lie of the enemy. The Lord wants us to take those hard things in our journey and use them as our testimony. And that was my goal in being here with you today. Yeah. So why don't you come up with me, Lee? So as you're considering ways that you can give, we were talking when I was visiting the center, and it costs about $500 for each of the patients that they serve. $500 doesn't cover the payroll or the staffing. That's just lab fees and what they're doing to care and the money that they're putting out to serve her. I think about what that would be just in a doctor's office. We would spend significantly more than that. But they're doing it at bare bones cost so that they can serve her well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so even $500, it might be a trip to Costco kind of an idea. But guess what? Here we're actually helping a woman in need, giving her hope. And we may see this same client again and again and again. We have navigators that help women get on Medicaid. But if they can't get on, we don't turn them away. We just say, yes, come back. We will help you again and again. Share program as well. Our costs have gone up 35% this past year. Just think about that, our impact in the schools. We don't want to have any limit. If you want to give generously. It will help us immensely. Our budget is over $1 million a year. So you heard that we had a goal this year of $300,000. Help us get to that point and beyond, because our men's ministry that's just taking off, can you imagine how that will take off? We're actually going to be sending men into the field to help with these dads. They might have a job. Praise God that they've got a job, but they still need to get assistance and help from our men. So help us get to that next level. There's many ways that you can help. You can give via QR code online that takes you right to our website. We take checks. We take that funny money called dollars.
QR code up on the wall.
It still works. The QR code is up here. Please scan it. We love monthly donors. You can give once. We love that. But monthly donors, it just helps us to know we have a monthly donation coming month by month. So all these different ways you can pledge or give. We turn all the money back into the program as best we can. As mentioned, 500 gets us that one client. We had 200 plus prenatal clients this past year. and that is substantial, and we see it growing more and more. So that's a great thing, but it means we need also your support. So thank you for that.
We shared earlier that last year they had to replace an ultrasound machine, and they actually replaced 2 ultrasound machines last year. And do you know an ultrasound machine is like $80,000? It's astronomical. And so generously, they had donors that replaced those ultrasound machines for them, and that's not a concern that they have this year. But the expenses are astronomical. The payroll, you talked about your men's program is run by a volunteer. Wouldn't it be beautiful if they could pay that volunteer so that he can really get plugged in and serve and really expand that? You know, when I started working in the pro-life world and I saw men in there, I was like, what is he doing as a male executive director? You know, I really had that mindset of this is a place for women. And that is another lie of the enemy. Men have been pushed out of this pro-life space. And I invite you men to come in and love on the women and men that are coming into the pregnancy center, because it is families. It's men and women together that are growing families, and we need all of you.
Thank you, Pam. Pam is a wonderful testimony of what we do. Thank you, Pam. What you've heard tonight is about real lives that have been changed for a good purpose, and changed so that they can make a difference in other people's lives. Because God moves mountains, and He makes a difference.